Hello, Piney sixth graders, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Today we've got three things we're going to worry about with today's video. Okay, first, those of you who watched all the way to the end last time, you notice I threw in a fun little challenge there. You comment in the comment section below on which of the three ties I showed you would like me to wear, and I said I'll wear whatever the winner is, and by a long shot, maroon was the winner. It wasn't even close. So you notice those of you who voted maroon, I'm repping that today. Okay, so we'll have another fun challenge for next time where I'm trying to pick themes. Last time it was bow ties. This time we'll go animals. So we've got penguins. We could wear the penguin tie. We've got sea turtles, a majestic creature, right? We could wear the sea turtle tie. But both of those are kind of, I don't want to say dull, but they're not very bright. So we've also got another mix-in one, which is an animal tie that's bright pink and yellow and red. You may say, well, that's not animals, but take a look. It's flying fish where it's dark, headed in one direction, and then it's geese headed the other direction. Okay, it's a math concept called a tessellation. It's a design that looks one way if you look one way at it, and it looks something else if you look the other way. It looks like something else. So you can say flying fish, you can say penguins, you can say sea turtles. Vote in the comment section, whichever your favorite is. That's what I'll be wearing next time. Okay, a quick remark about taking data. I had a question from a classmate, right, about these data sheets and taking your daily weather. Their question was, should I be doing that every day, including weekends? Good question. You do not have to be taking the data on weekends. I don't require it, certainly not. So if you just have weekday data, you'll be in good shape. When we designed those packets, we didn't know exactly how long we'd be using them for, how long school would be out. So I figured putting a few extra columns in was better than not having enough. If you don't make it all the way to day 14, if you're not taking data on the weekends, you will be just fine. I do want to say, make sure you're taking data this week. We're going to have very interesting weather. Okay, you'll notice that Monday and Tuesday are very, very different than Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to see big changes, and I want you to chart all the things that go along with those changes on your charts. All right, last but certainly not least, we have the main purpose of today's video, and that is to offer you a little bit of guidance about your weather instruments. And I made one, okay, just so you could see that if I'm asking you to do it, I can do it too. Okay, but also we can talk through this as a chance to show you exactly what I expect out of this. And really what I hope for and expect is fun, not stress. So you'll notice at the back of the packet, I gave you 4 there, and then there should be one last one to total 5. There it is. 5 different choices of plans of weather instruments you can make. Okay, on the front, I listed them out by ease, where we had 2 easier ones, 2 medium ones, and 1 difficult one. My predictions or projections there were pretty close, but don't let the medium and difficult ones scare you. You'll find that even the easier ones can be a little more challenging, or there's ways to simplify the more difficult ones. Go with ones that seem interesting to you. Don't be afraid to look online and see if there's other designs. Okay, so I've had a few people email me their pictures of wind vanes, and I actually made my own. Okay, a wind vane is an instrument that tells you the direction of the wind. So if the wind is blowing from a certain direction, this arrow will rotate, right? And then it will point in the direction the wind is coming from. Remember, we talked in class that winds are named from the direction they're coming from. So a wind from the north is a north wind. So if you set this out on perfectly level ground, okay, and then you get a strong enough wind, what should happen is it should turn and show you the way the wind is coming from. So, perfect, mine works in most cases, and I'll talk about that. Okay, but it's a pretty neat instrument. I had some fun making it, and I want to talk you through the things that I noticed. First, I did read the plans, but I wanted to add a little bit of my own spin. First of all, they recommend using a can, but I had a nice yogurt container. I didn't really have any cans. I don't want you going out and buying stuff for this. Use what you have around your home, okay? And I also wanted to add a couple little fun things that I could design that were my own ideas. So I noticed, right, my little vane, right, you'll notice it's not symmetrical. You'll say, Mr. Wire, wow, that's really thin over here, really thick up here. I wanted to make sure that like there was more surface area up here where the cup wasn't blocking the wind. So that's actually part of my design. I purposefully made it thicker up here. Okay, I thought that might help. I also noticed that before I had this little thing, which is actually a rock taped on, okay, my wind vane kept tipping and it would scrape along here, and that meant it didn't do a very good job. Even if the wind blew, it would just scrape along here and move a little bit. So this rock helped balance it. So that way it sits much more nicely and it doesn't scrape, you can probably even hear that along there. Last, what I did, it actually kind of looks like a little Chinese food takeout container in there, is I took a folded up piece of cardboard and glued it to the bottom. And the job for this, that is where the bottom of the pencil sits. Okay, and it keeps it in one spot. Let me see. Oh, nice aim there, Mr. Wire. So that way it can spin, staying in one spot. Okay, what I was noticing is that if the wind, or when I was practicing it with my breath, right, if it was blowing pretty strongly, the pencil would get crooked. It wouldn't stay straight up and down. And that little contraption that I put in there helped that. It stays pretty level now. Okay. Now, one other little change I made is I really wanted to be able to set it where true north was up and south and east and west were there. So I made sure to mark that, and I went out in my backyard with my phone. There's little compass apps and stuff you can use, and found where true north was. So now if I set it with true north, this N heading north, and I set it down, I can see which way this is pointing, and now I know which way the wind is coming from. So cool little weather instrument. And it's a great chance to talk about why weather instruments matter, right? If you're into sports, right, and there's a football kickoff, right, you'll notice they have, it's a very simple wind vane, but they have those little flags that hang from the goalposts in the end zone, right? Tells the kickers which way the wind is blowing. Okay, if you play baseball or softball, you know some days when the wind is blowing straight in from left field, if you hit a pop up to left, the thing just goes straight up in the air. If it's blowing straight out to, say, center field, something that might be a pop up would instead might clear the fence or go over the outfielder's head. Okay, so wind vanes can be very practical. They can also be life-saving. Places like airports, they have big wind vanes, usually with like bright yellow colors. A lot of times they'll be made of fabric. Okay, that they have next to the runway so pilots can see which direction the wind is coming from as they're trying to land. So a really neat engineering challenge to make one of these, but guys, they're all cool. Okay, I've gotten some really neat photos of thermometers from classmates who have tried making thermometers. It's not going to work exactly like a thermometer that you would put in your mouth if you were sick. It'll go up a little bit or go down a little bit, but the fact that it works, really, really cool. Okay, so please have fun with these, right? Don't sweat it if you don't have the exact materials, and don't worry if it doesn't work right away. Like I said, I was getting scraping here, so I had to tape a rock to the back of here to balance it. Do the best you can with what you've got, and at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, just send me a photo of it anyway and tell me what you would do different if you had different materials. You're still learning, and I'm happy there. All right, folks, so keep at those weather instruments. I'd love to see you make 2. Okay, if it ends up just being 1, still send me a photo of that. Still want to see it. Tell me if it worked. Okay, I had a classmate who made a rain gauge who told me that Wentzville, during our last rainstorm, got 1/2 inch of rain. That's what their rain gauge showed. It may be different for you because different places actually can get different amounts of rain. It might rain heavier in one spot than others, but 1/2 inch at one of the Wentzville households is what we had. So it's a pretty good rainfall. So we're getting interesting data from your take-home devices already. Folks, hey, don't forget to comment with your favorite tie preference. Okay, remember we had the flying fish, the penguins, and the sea turtles, whichever you want. That's what I'll be wearing next time. Don't forget that I'm also available for questions at any time. And hey, I kept this video under 10 minutes. I guess I kept my word about keeping it short. All right, hope everybody's doing well. And until next time, I'll see ya.